The following is a production of Cary TV, the Town of Cary's government access channel.
Hi, welcome to the July meeting of the Operations Committee. Today we have 3 items under consent. Would either of you like any of these items pulled for discussion?
No.
No, ma'am.
Okay, all right, we'll move those to the council under consent. We have 2 items for discussion. The first item is the declaration of appropriate speed limit on Morrisville Parkway by NCDOT, and today we have Tim Bailey talking to us about that.
Good afternoon, Council. This item was requested by the Town Council to work with NCDOT to investigate the speed limit and a possible reduction along Morrisville Parkway, particularly the stretch between NC 55 and Davis Drive, which were in Cary. Staff has done that, and after the state looking at the volumes and the speed, some of the geometric issues and the safety along this corridor, they are recommending that the current 45-mile-per-hour speed limit posting remain.
Did they give an explanation why they allowed the Morrisville portion to go to 35 and kept this one at 45?
Yeah, the Morrisville portion is considerably different for quite a few reasons. The number of driveway access points, the design speed for that road was lower, the way the curves are. It has a very steep crossing of the railroad track that almost requires a stop. It has some street lights and fixed objects in the median that by state standard have some requirements for lower speed. It's a roadside design and safety issue at certain speeds. So those things collectively, I think, made a difference in their decision along that particular corridor.
Okay. Lori, do you have any questions or comments that you want to?
Well, honestly, we both live on that section, so I understand why NCDOT would certainly want to keep it 45, especially since Morrisville Parkway is going to be a major conduit eventually to 540. Although I still feel that it can be dangerous with the number of kids, especially now that it's summer, with all the kids going to the tennis park, to the 3 or 4 schools that are in that area. Once Carpenter Park is created, I mean that is a very well-traveled area by people who aren't used to that kind of speed. And I guess the question is, if NCDOT says we want to keep it at 45, is there any option for the town?
We cannot unilaterally change the speed limit. It requires their concurrence. Certainly, there may be things politically you could do at a level above staff, but there's nothing that Cary staff can do at this point to continue to work with their staff. That decision would be final at this point at that level.
Okay. We've been trying to make headway with NCDOT on the median that is at Morrisville Parkway and right before 55, right near the railroad track.
That
And this
name.
has been very challenging, and that's my nice way of saying it, because, we have talked with staff, and staff said, we've done everything we can at the staff level. It needs to be the council members doing it politically, and, several of us have taken different shots at it and tried, and we've talked with representatives from the NCDOT Board of Trustees and have made no headway whatsoever. So given that difficulty, I think it would be very hard for us to make headway on this one. I'm wondering if there is something that the citizens can do to directly communicate with NCDOT and make their case known, because our avenues haven't proved to be particularly successful.
Certainly, citizens can write to the division traffic engineer or make contact by email. There's opportunities for them to work directly if that's what they would like to do.
Okay.
I think the important thing, is there any place on our website where we have that rationale? I mean, until you explain that about the differences between the Marsville side, I think it doesn't help the problem, but at least, that's the compelling reason why, people say, why isn't anyone listening? Well, it was for all those reasons that Mr. Bailey did, and I think people at least have to be aware that if they're going to go forward to their elected officials, they got to be armed with that, because that's what their officials are going to come back with, and then you're
That's a
just
good
back
point.
to square one. And we've got to make sure that information is power. You got to have that somewhere of why that decision was made, and it's like Jekyll and Hyde. It's two
Can we
different.
update this report with that information as well as the contact information for that division engineer so that our citizens know who to contact about this?
Yes. We have some basic information about the differences, but we can elaborate and add some information about the DOT contact.
That'd be great.
That'd
Thank
be
you.
good. Okay. All right, so at this point, we just are accepting the fact that you told us this. There's no action for the full council then?
That's correct.
Okay, all right. The next item is the Maynard Water Storage Tank Project.
This item is to consider a design consultant to add storage that we need in the central part of town, where we were looking at replacement or supplement for the Maynard Road tank. The Maynard Road tank has had a lot of public feedback and significance because we have currently painted on there the class of 2013, and we change that each year. And because of that, we have some options that we would like to study with this engineer to get some basic data about cost and maintenance that would allow us to keep the Maynard tank there. One option is to keep it in service, and one's to keep it there and not place it in service. Then we have some other options that would remove it, and we want to compare those as a first step in this process. And then once we make that decision after some public input opportunities, then we would move into the detailed design and construction. So this contract covers all phases, but we recognize we got to do phase one part of that work first. So staff's recommendation is to hire Hazen and Sawyer, and there is a range of values between which one we select. So there's the alternative is selected. So
Okay.
staff's recommendations, Hazen and Sawyer.
Okay, and the first question I think a lot of citizens are going to have is the demolition of that existing tank off the table at this time?
It is not. We have 4 options. 2 options would demolish the tank, 2 options would leave the tank. So
Okay.
it remains as an option either way. We'll be considering that. It will not be demolished for a period of time. Our schedule right now, even if we were to do that, the construction wouldn't occur until 2015, I think is the schedule that we're talking about. So we have a couple of more years where the class of will be on the tank. We actually have recently talked about getting it repainted since it's summer. So that's in the works. But after this decision is made, then we'll have some more finite information about the schedule, and if it's remaining, then we'll be able to provide that information.
So
Yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong, didn't we decide to put the meeting place there?
No, that's a different site. We
Wrong site.
did take down a water tank right across the street from the Cary Art Center.
On Kildare Farm Road.
On Kildare Farm Road, and that's where
so it's the
meeting
other-
place. It's the
okay.
other one that's right near Cary High School that
Thank
says
you.
class of 2013.
But there was a discussion on the table that should this park site, or should this tank go away, that become a Pocket Park. Isn't that one of the
No,
recommendations?
that was also about the Kildare Farm Road
So they're
tank
both about
site,
that
not
one.
the
So I'm
Maynard
getting the
Road
two
tank
mixed.
site.
All right, thank
This
you.
is the one that had a petition where
Oh, yes.
so many people felt
So if it
strongly.
is demolished, does a new tank go in that same location?
Well, first of all,
Well, it's-
we need to get to the point of making that decision. If it does become demolished, we would have some follow-up. There's also a huge need for cell tower coverage there. We have many carriers on that tank, so what we do with that site, if it gets demolished, is a separate decision.
Okay.
Yes, and that will come back to council, and it's real important because we had so many people sign petitions. It's very important that the public understands that we're hiring a firm to collect data, information, cost about the primary goal for this tank, as Tim mentioned, is water service and pressure for that community and that area. So that's the focus of it. But because we've had those concerns about it, this firm will come back and give the council options. So council will be able to choose what option to take in the future. You know, sometimes when we can't move forward to collect that data until we award this contract, but sometimes when we do this, it gets out very quickly that we're moving to, you know, refurbish the tank or tear it down or something, and we get the wrong impression out in the community. So I want to be real clear that all they are doing is looking at options that will come back to council. So just one of the options would be to keep it there. One of the options would be to move it. But we believe council needs to see all those dollars and figures and facts associated with it so you can make an informed decision.
Okay. All right, so it's inconclusive at this time, what will happen.
Yes.
Yeah. But
But we are funding the design and study of this.
You're just
The
awarding the consultant contract to design
Yeah.
and study it. The funding's already in place.
Yeah, okay.
And, you know, I concur with the town manager. The first priority is water pressure and the efficiencies in sense to the town. You know, I'll wait for the options, you know, for my other comments. So I'll just wait for those options to come forward.
And this is, overall, it's a $3.5 million project?
The budget is about $3.5 million, correct?
Okay. All right, thank you very much. We'll move this forward to the council for that award. All right, that concludes the July meeting of the Operations Committee.
This has been a production of Cary TV. Visit the Town of Cary's website at townofcary.org.